Hey y'all, it's Wednesday, 1 o'clock here on Book World, The Great Escape. We have a special person here today, Ms. Nancy Durham, and we will get to her in just a second. First of all, Mike, how are you doing today, and how was your week? And I know you have some weekend plans. What are they?
Yeah, this will be the first book event of the year for me. I'll be at the SBC Comic-Con at Bossier City Civic Center on
Mhm.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday it's from 3 to 9. Saturday it's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then on Sunday it's from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that's at the Bossier City Civic Center in
Awesome. Go
in
ahead.
Louisiana.
In Louisiana. Oh, that's a long
Yeah,
haul.
yeah. It's about an hour and a half drive from here. It's
Gotcha.
Shreveport, Louisiana. They're sister cities.
Got it. So, how was your week?
Uh, Pretty good. It's been a busy one. Every week seems to be busy, but trying to finish the book that so I can get the illustrations for Nancy, so the material, so that sh she can finish the illustration. So I've been working on that pretty much nonstop for the last several months.
Good.
And fourth and
Well,
final book of the Conquest of the Veil series.
yeah, and I cannot wait. I am so excited. I love those books. They're great. So for me, let me see. This week has been actually getting ready. I'm going to help run the San Angelo Comic-Con in San Angelo, Texas this weekend. It's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So for any of those watching who are interested in my books and want my books, let me know, and I will bring them with me. And you can get them at the special book show pricing. I will be running around like a mad puppy. I will have I have like a little baby Yoda lanyard, so it's gonna be kind of hard to miss me. And I'll be
Mhm.
like super tall running around. So that's gonna be me. I'm so excited. I love Comic Cons. So being able to help kind of run the behind the scenes makes me like super excited for that. So we've been getting ready for that. Tonight on the con hour, speaking of Comic Con, we're gonna have Adasa, who plays Dolores in Encanto, is going to be on tonight at
Hmm.
6:10. So we're super excited for that one. That one's like everyone's like super wired for it. So we're excited.
Good.
Um, as far as books, well, I got the trilogy finished. Basically, I did 6 books between August 30th and January 25th. So I'm like at breathe space right now.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. We do have for Texas Sisters Press, we do have a cover reveal for Mr. Author Bob May on the 24th. And then his book launch is May 3rd or May 3rd. My brain is like gone. March 3rd at 6 o'clock. And it'll be on the Texas Sisters Presses Facebook page, LinkedIn, my LinkedIn, and my YouTube.
Okay.
Um, the cool thing about that is we pull in other authors. So we have like anywhere between 6 to 8 different authors that are going to be on with him. And each person is bringing with them a prize. And anybody who knows the Texas Sisters Press book launches knows that we do a wheel of names. All you got to do is comment during the course of the book launch. You get entered in and you find out if you win during the live launch. So it's fun.
Yeah.
Love doing those. So
Mhm.
Miss Nancy Durham, I actually met during Kilgore Geekend in 2019, I believe.
Is that when it was?
Was
Doesn't
it
Yeah.
seem that long
2019?
ago, but I guess it was.
I think it was only because
Yeah.
that's the same weekend I joined Star Trek Pathfinder's cosplay group.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but during that weekend, I was able to do a massive score. I tend to do what's called book swaps with different authors, but when I saw Nancy's art and it's in a floating frame, I'm like, hey, have I got a deal for you? So, this is part of her art that she did for Mike's book, The Open Portal. So, Mr. Mike, would you like to introduce Nancy?
Sure. Nancy is my wife's cousin,
Mhm.
and my father-in-law and Nancy's father are brothers, and they live in Linden, which is about 45 minutes from Mount Pleasant. And she has she is a accomplished artist. I mean, she has uh, seen her work. She's done stuff, pictures, portraits. Uh, Gosh, I mean, several different things for for people in the family, but also for others. And so,
Yeah, she
one,
actually she did a picture of my husband's service dog that actually passed last year.
okay,
And it's like her pencil drawings are just like you're looking at a picture.
right,
I'm like,
Mhm.
right.
how do you do that?
Yeah, it's amazing. She can take a picture and she can by hand
Mhm.
uh, draw it so it looks like it's the real thing, and it's hard to tell the difference between an actual picture or photo and then her drawings. But anyway, one day when I knew I was going to start a fantasy uh, series called Conquest of the Veil, and I asked Nancy to illustrate the books for me. And it's about eight or nine per book, isn't it, Nancy?
Yes.
I think
Mhm.
last Witch's Brew had nine. Most of them run about eight.
8. Mm-hmm.
And Nancy had never done this before, but she, like I said, an accomplished artist, and I can tell you that she's done a fabulous job. And as you've shown with the artwork, which came from the open portal, uh, it's been fantastic. She also did the map for me. All fantasy books, are usually it's a different world building. She did the maps for me, and she also has Nancy. Why don't you describe um, the uh, the the the
Story
opening
arch.
picture? Yeah, the story
Okay.
arch and how that came
Okay.
about.
Um, well, thank y'all for having me. Anyway, inviting me on. Yeah, the story arch it's not really a unique idea, but it's a ancient one. And I did title it myself. So at the beginning of every book, I do an illustration that mimics medieval art, the luminary manuscripts from far ago. I like to study those. I have books on those, and all with the old calligraphy. And I guess back then people couldn't really read, and so the artists, the scribe, would put pictures all around the wording.
Huh.
And I noticed there was a common theme, and they were in an arch, this, I don't know, medieval arch, often, not always. And I thought, with Mike's book, wouldn't that be fun? And in the arches, these medieval arches, they'll put little bitty characters around it, and it will tell, if a person couldn't read, they could follow this, and it would tell a biblical story, David and Goliath, whatever. And so I took that same idea that's hundreds of years old, and I used the main characters in his book, and even supporting characters, and developed those in an arch form. And when someone opens the book, they get a little taste of what's coming. They don't know what's going to happen, but it will give them a little taste of that.
Do you happen to have that handy?
I have one right here. This is the first one, actually. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see that?
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm going the wrong way.
Oh,
Yep,
So
you got it.
this center is the orb, the orb. But each, I'm hoping when people see it, they'll want to read the book when they see these little characters. Mhm.
That's very cool. I like that. Never thought of that. So, how do you make them look like pictures? I mean, seriously, they're just a lot of times your actual drawings, your looks like pencil drawings, or they look like real pictures. How do you do that?
right.
So they years and years and years of practice and study, lots of study. And so I've really specializing in graphite, which would be a pencil.
Mhm.
And then in the last, I would say, 10 years, I've gone over into the pen and ink, which can never look real, like realism.
Right.
But the graphite can look like a black and white photo. I don't really want it to copy a black and white photo. Actually, I want it to look like a work of art, but I want it to look real. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, when you created the map, do you happen to have the map handy that you made for Mike?
I think I can find it fairly
While you're looking for
easily.
that,
Yeah, here
how
it
do you
is.
how do you create a map of a land that you've never seen before? How do you do that?
Oh gosh. So I studied again medieval maps,
Mhm.
and this one in particular I decided that I didn't want it to be flat, um, and I wanted it to look more like a part of a globe
Hmm.
because I needed
The
this
world.
the veil to be portrayed, and I wasn't able to put the veil on a flat map, but
Hmm.
you could see it with the perspective of a globe, and so I keep going the wrong way, don't I?
Nope, you
Right
got
there,
it. You got it
Nancy.
right
Right
there.
there.
Perfect.
Put a little closer, Nancy. Go a little. There you go. Right there.
Okay, I see the
Uh,
veil. So which
And
came
so
here are the.
first, the book or the veil? The book or the draw or the map?
I beg your pardon.
Which came first, the book or the map?
Uh, I guess the map.
right,
Yes, the map came
right.
first.
Nancy,
It's got all
put
the elements. I think with each book, we've added a few things,
Hmm.
right.
but not many. He knew what he was going. We sat down with a piece of paper with this blank,
Uh-huh.
and I said, "Okay, tell me where everything is." And he started. These mountains are here. These rivers here, and we titled them. Um, anyway, I don't know. I guess you could see that veil right
Yeah,
there.
hold it right there. Hold it back up again, Nancy. So what's what Nancy did on the map, which I thought was ingenious, was the veil is actually a magical barrier that divides the world of Meredith into a good half and an evil half.
That's
Hmm.
right.
And but
There's
it's
the boundary.
invisible. It's invisible. Air passes through it. You know, soulless creatures like birds can fly through it, but people cannot. And so she managed to take what is an invisible barrier and superimpose a sort of an image like that where you could actually see it on a spherical surface like a world, which I thought, again, what Nancy's saying, a lot of fantasy books have maps. It just kind of goes with the genre,
Hmm.
but very few have a world that has the map on it, that has the globe-like features. So that was pretty unique. I would,
Yeah,
I,
go ahead.
I was going to ask Nancy to because you had never done illustrations before doing
Well,
the
I had done
okay,
illustrations.
that's right.
Um, I did some activity books for the state of
Okay,
Louisiana. I did a lot of uh, pictorial cancellations for
okay,
the United States Postal Service
Mhm.
for years. I did
Wow.
those, and they're published.
right.
And then I did children's books that were not published because the authors did not follow through. Y'all might do a show on that someday. I don't really understand that part. But and then I did a book for a man. I did illustrations. His it was like a memoir, and each chapter had pictures, but they were graphite. Mm-hmm.
So I would like what I would like you to do is describe because we actually we talk of course, but um, describe because your illustrations are original
Mhm.
for each book. Describe how you arrived. Describe the process by which you created each illustration.
Yeah, like
Um,
this. How did you
like
come up with this?
so if you would give me
Um,
give us the step by step process how that
oh
works with
yeah,
you.
okay. So I first of all, when Mike came to me with this, I was like, fantasy. I don't even read fantasy books. So this was a really big stretch for me, but I said, I'll try. I'll try. It may be a big flaw. But what I do is I sit down, I read the manuscript all the way through, and then that gives me an idea of the book. And then I'll uh, divide out the book for 8 illustrations. And so in those sections, I read 10 pages before, 10 pages on the other side, and I write down. I have my So this is just full of my notes. I make lists of every character. They have columns, and every time I come to a description, I find it and I write down, okay, add this to this person or this place or this object, and then I put the page number, and I come up with some ideas in my mind. I write in the manuscript. This would make a good illustration. This one would, and then I take like the best three
Mhm.
and I'll do some thumbnail sketches and I'll contact Mike and I'll give him my ideas. And he chooses which one sometimes we kind of.
You
But
have more notes in that notebook for Mike's books than I have for all 16 of mine.
well, yeah, that's what I do. It's full, and I can go back to the other books, and because a lot of his characters they go all the way through the entire series. And anyway, once we decide on what it will be, and it's very important to me that the picture, and I want the reader. I don't want to give away the book.
Mhm.
Or even that scene or that I want to make them curious what's happening here. And I even call them potential energy. They're like a spring that's been and if they'll just read, it's gonna, explode. This is great. So I will take the idea, I'll sit for hours and I look like I'm doing nothing. And I'm playing in my mind. I'm stepping into the scene. He's the one, he's written it for me. All I got to do is step in it in my mind. And then I move my mind's eye or like a camera above, below, and I move characters around until they fit in a space this big, until they read well, they're a good composition. And I might change them. In my mind, I'm moving them around. And once I get that in my mind's eye, there's no detail, then I will quickly draw that up and get it on paper. Okay, this is going to be the composition. And of course, it can change. It's all in pencil. And then later, I will Google models or whatever I need to get. Maybe I need an arm to be flexed. I need to know those muscles, what they'll be, all these details. And then I use tracing paper and every element, and then will be on a different sheet. And then I'll move them around inside that window until I get them exactly the way I want. And then I'll trace them on one sheet of paper. And then I transfer that onto the artboard. And then I do the inking. And the inking's the candy. It's the fun part. The rest, I've pulled my hair out. I bit my nails off. But I finally got to it. And I've got something I'm satisfied with when I get to the inking. When I get through with the inking, I'll send Mike a picture of it, and if he gives me a thumbs up, then we'll go away. He might say, no, that person needs to look a little older, or make some little small changes. And that's the process.
I think that's awesome. So, did you do all of his books or just The Conquest of the Veil?
Just the Conquest of the Veil series.
Now, speaking of the Conquest of the Veil series, I know we have a special surprise today for those who are watching, but before we get there, Mike, can you explain book 4?
Book 4 is the fourth and last book of the Conquest of the Veil. It is the completion of what I call an epic story, epic fantasy. It draws to a conclusion the 1,000-year struggle between those that are on the good side of the veil, which is the magical partition, and the bad side. And there's a final conflict, a final conclusion. And if you'd like to know what that is, book 4 will be out in May, and get yourself a copy. But
I can't wait to find out myself.
books 1, 2, and 3 are basically setting up the last. They're basically setting the stage for book 4. So
now, what's our special surprise today?
Well, we have a reveal. If that's all right with Mike, I want to show the first 2 installments, the first 2 illustrations of Cavern of the Veil Queen. I got it.
Very nice. Yes.
Yep, right there.
And this one, I titled them all, even though they're not in the book. This one's called I'm Here. And so we've got the villain. We've got the damsel in distress. That's Maggie. I admire her so much. And Mike better not kill her off. That's all I'm saying. And here,
Don't
of course,
say
is the
that
duet.
because from the author perspective, it's kind of like playing Dungeons and Dragons. The Dragon Master's always listening, and so is the author.
You
So
just
you
do what
might
you
be
want, don't
digging
you?
yourself in a hole.
And then we have this one. This is Alabaster John, the wizard in the book. Guess I've got that.
There you
Shows
go.
up,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and he's finding out what he's doing some science, finding out what this one's called Viper Dew, DEW, Viper Dew. Anyway, no one's
Now,
seen those till right now.
the cool thing is sometimes you actually do some shows with Mike, correct? So
I have, yeah.
people can get your art sometimes that
Yes.
way, but they can also find you where?
On Facebook, you can find me at my portraits would be at Nancy E. Durham, Durham. And then my regular artwork is artist Nancy E. Durham.
Okay, and you're also on Instagram. So if somebody say wants a commission, they just contact you on Facebook?
Yes, portraits is my main genre. Pets, children, anybody.
Very cool.
Okay.
Now, you guys have taken this, or Mike's kind of taken this, and you've helped him with it. You've taken not just the illustrations that are in the books, but you guys have used them for, authors pay attention, bookmarks, correct? Mike, can you tell
Uh,
us about that?
the yes, Nancy, again, she is not only an artist, she could also be a graphic designer and that sort of along that line. And so, what we talked about doing, and I didn't know if we were going to be able to do it or not realistically, but I asked Nancy, okay, so I can get bookmarks made, but they need some bling to them, something that catches the eye. And so Nancy helped me. She helped me create custom-made bookmarks for all of the books, not just Conquest of the Veil, but the three other standalone books. I have the Treasure Hunt Club, the Janus Witch, and Edison Jones. And so, and they look really, really good. And
They do
she,
look
and what's amazing about it is that, of course, the bookmarks I get done through Vistaprint, but as far
good.
as the bling that really makes them look like a polished custom made bookmark, uh, Nancy, Hobby Lobby, she is able or knew that it was possible to get relatively cheap items for each bookmark that symbolized the story of of each of each book. So, like for example, with the Janus Witch, you have a witch's potion bottle. For the Treasure Hunt Club, you have a gold coin. Um, if I'd have thought of it, I'd have got some out and just holding them up to the camera. But at book shows that I go to, I have a bookmark stand and have all of the bookmarks on there, and generally do pretty good selling those. And again, I'm very appreciative to Nancy because you know, I can't draw a stick figure without a crooked line somewhere, and I certainly couldn't design a custom-made bookmark. So, thank you,
They're a
Nancy,
lot of
very
fun.
much.
They're a lot of fun. You know how much I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, you have to because otherwise, I mean, like I said, I help her and she has to like a child. You're reading your first reader ABC to Mike. Do this here now. No, no, no. Be careful. And so
Being the one that helps him design his website, I can fully have compassion on you and understanding in that.
yeah.
He does good.
He
He does.
does.
He gets the job done.
When the repetition comes into play, he's got it.
Yeah.
But it's just like
Some
the
yeah,
first few
some
times, like,
people
no, don't touch that, don't touch that, don't touch that, don't touch that. Leave it alone.
the
I
learning
think I
curve is a little slow sometimes, but
yeah.
yeah, as long as you get there, right? So
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. We get it
Exactly.
done. It's a lot of
So,
fun. I get to be with my family.
what other things have you done, Nancy?
Like I said, I guess what I'm most proud of would be the portraits,
Mhm.
commissions that I've done. Um, um, they mean more. They're heirloom pieces, and they mean a lot to the people that receive them for their families. It's not like doing a work and then having it sell, in a shop or at a booth. So that, I mean, I see it in their eyes. So it's mainly the portraits. It's what I'm most proud of.
Yeah, I know that picture of, we call her Big D, Trevor's first service dog, is irreplaceable because now that she's
I'm
gone, we
glad
don't have
you
it.
mentioned that.
And
Yeah.
you hit it like right on the head. It was perfect.
I saw that your dog, and I thought I have to draw this dog. I mean, the dog just spoke to me with her eyes and everything. And I love the gear. She's got the flag bandana and all those things, all those details. I'm real detailed oriented, so I really enjoy doing that. Mhm.
Nancy,
Awesome.
haven't you done murals for businesses and churches as
I
well?
have. I've done baptistry. I've done murals. I went up into Pennsylvania for my niece at a college and did their nursery, the murals for the
Very cool.
nursery. And it's a lot of fun. Some restaurants. Yeah.
So there's a lot of uses for an artist, and some authors, authors paint with words. Artists, for example, in this case, you paint with your pencil, and you make incredible designs, and you bring to life things like Mike's work,
Thank you.
his
Thank
books.
you very much.
And like I said, some of the stuff that you do is irreplaceable. We don't have Big D anymore, and so that picture is the only thing we have other pictures of her, but that is something that's like priceless,
hmm
and it can't be
Thank
replaced.
you. Thank you
So
very much.
those paying attention as far as authors go, find yourself a really good artist. If you can get some of those, especially fantasy ones, some sci-fi ones, if you can
hmm
get pictures like throughout the book, it kind of adds just a little bit of that special touch to the different pages. So we have about 3 minutes left. Is there anything you'd like to add, Nancy?
No, I just thank you for inviting me, and if it's been a lot of fun, you know. But
I have a question, one last question for you, Nancy. So, what would you do differently if you had to start all over again on the illustrations? What is
Ooh,
there anything you would change or do differently?
yes, there is, and I've thought about that. I would have to get your okay. Um, like I said, I've titled each one. I like the work to represent the book, but I also want it to stand alone if it can, secondary, as just a work of art.
mhm.
Right.
And I would have put the titles underneath each one. And that's something I would have changed. Yes.
Okay.
Very cool.
Good.
So that's it for today, but we do have some awesome news for next week. We have book review week, which is one of my favorites. We get to spotlight on certain authors, and I know who mine is. Mike, do you know who yours is?
Gonna keep that a secret. No.
But do you
Uh,
know?
oh, probably gonna be. I've got about 10 books for Christmas. That was my Christmas list. So a couple of those I've read. I'm kind of going through them. So um, I will probably do one that's sort of a mystery thriller. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Mine, I will give the hint of. I have a blog called the Shelf Life blog on my website. The book is in that blog. That I will tell you. Now, there's like 14 books in there, but books should have been reviewed, but it is in there, and I'm pretty excited for next week as well. I love book review week. So stay tuned next week. Same place you found us this week, 1 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Book World: The Great Escape. Until next time,